Well, good evening, everyone. The May 13th meeting of the Renville City Council will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's take a look at the agenda for this evening. Do we have any changes or additions? If not, I will.
I've added item 7I, which is a request for street closure for the beet plant for their spin run.
5 minutes early. That's 5 minutes fast today.
It's not. You're wrong.
I'm serious.
You're wrong. Turn on your phone.
Huh? Just turned 7.
Well, we're glad you're here. No matter what, we're glad you're here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we added, for the action items, number I, or letter I, for a street closure, an additional street closure. So with that, I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, moving on, let's go to the April 22nd meeting minutes, and I'll take a motion to approve.
Move to approve the minutes of April 22nd.
Which one?
Louise,
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the April 22nd council meeting. Any changes or additions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. We have some visitors in the audience this evening. We have Justin Black and gentleman,
Randy Edberg.
Randy Edberg. Okay,
They're both on the agenda.
They-
Well, Randy, are you here for 721, or excuse me, 321 Northeast
Yeah.
Second? Okay.
okay,
So
so
that-
we'll get to you. All right, do we want to take Justin's first?
I had him as item 7A, but we can bring him up if you'd like to.
Okay, we'll bring you up.
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we're presenting the results of the bid opening we had last week Thursday. In your packet, about halfway through the packet, is a letter from me outlining the bid results. Looks something like this.
That's what I get for doing that out of order, huh? I don't.
The bid opening we had was for the DuPont Avenue Mill and Overlay project. And at your last council meeting, I talked a little bit
Oh,
about
there
the
it is.
project itself. We're doing a bituminous overlay from curb to curb, from Second Street all the way to Fifth Street. And it's really part two of last year's project where we did the underground piping work, now we're doing the paving work. We had some good bid results. We received 3 bids on the project. The low bid being from Knife River Corporation with a bid amount of $118,445. Our engineer's estimate that we presented to you at the last meeting was about $122,000, so just below what we had estimated the project to come in at. And then 2 other bidders in the project, Dunick Incorporated and Central Specialties. So we did review the bids and assembled a bid tabulation of all the bid items. Everything was correct on the bids, and they did provide the bid bond, bid security for the project. So we feel no reason to deny awarding the project. Our recommendation is to award it to the low bidder, Knife River. We'll set up a pre-construction meeting with them in the next couple of weeks and identify a start date. We won't allow them to start until after Sugar Beet Days, and we've got a completion in the middle of August, so we'll finish things up before school gets started. I would anticipate it'd be about a week or a week and a half worth of construction work, so not too much disruption.
You've had experience with this company?
Yes, we've worked with Knife River in the past and they're reputable.
I haven't heard of them, that's why.
Yeah, I haven't either. Okay, so the action we need to take then would be to approve the bid from Knife River Corporation for the DuPont project. Who would like to make that motion?
I would make that motion.
Or
I'll
to accept the
second.
bid?
We do have a resolution 613, which will authorize,
Okay. So the motion would be to approve resolution 0613, awarding the bid to Knife River Corporation for the DuPont project
At the $118,000.
at $118,445. Okay? So,
Randy seconded
Oh.
it, right?
oh, seconded already, okay, sorry, missed that. We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 0613, awarding the bid for the DuPont project to Knife River Corporation for $118,445. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and opposed, no. Motion carried.
You said at one time, maybe if we had a couple other projects, we could approach them. It looks like that
Yes.
one, was it Sixth Street or something? It was in one of
Oh,
yeah, we've taken other measures to take care of that for
That was the
now.
only one we
But there
were
are other
looking at?
things that we're considering.
Since I thought there maybe were a couple that we
Yep.
talked about.
Well, some might be property owners that wanna, do it on their own, because we're not going into somebody's driveway and that sort of thing.
No,
So
no,
it may
but
be,
I thought there was maybe something else.
but if anybody's looking to get something done, that would be the time to do it, because, it's cheaper when they're on hand.
But what I can do is give the contact information to Jordan, so if anyone wants to call City Hall, they can get in touch with Knife River and work with them directly.
did we happen to talk to them about the parking lot in the back?
Not yet.
Okay,
That was one of the.
Yeah.
That's something we can do. We'll schedule a meeting with them in the next couple weeks, and then we can take a look at it firsthand. And there'll be time for Jordan to report back to the council.
Sure, okay.
For decision on that.
okay,
All right, thank you very much.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the Public Works report.
Public Works met May 8th. The first thing we discussed was traffic control at Colfax and Third Street Northeast. And this would be right out in front of the school. The committee discussed safety concerns at the intersection of Colfax and Third Street Northeast. City staff will identify options to improve the visibility of signage within the area. It was the stop sign there that was really in question with some of the buses when they go to load up the buses after school and stuff, and maybe blocking the stop sign, so just some concerns with that and stuff, so.
Last year, they parked out, one of them parked in the street so cars couldn't go by. I questioned that, but I guess
They
it's the same.
I know that they've done that at least one day this year
Have they?
because,
Well, I haven't happened to
because
see
I
it this
started
year,
down,
but they did.
yeah.
I guess it solved the problem, but
Yeah.
I questioned it, but I'm sure that it's necessary.
Well,
Cars wouldn't see kids dashing out between buses.
I'm still getting semis coming down Third Street Southwest every day.
But this is when kids are loading school, this is
Well, I
when-
mean, they're coming from fertilizer plant, they're coming from K&M, and 90% of them are coming from the north. There hardly anybody goes down that street, but they're coming out on it all the time. And there's a lot of kids on that street.
Might have to take a look at that one too sometime.
It's a block over from the truck route.
Our second thing that we discussed was the request, the request to pave Sixth Street Northeast. The committee discussed improvements that have been requested for an area on Sixth Street Northeast from DuPont Avenue to the rail line. Public Works Director Pete Peterson informed the committee that the road currently lacks a suitable base for pavement and would require substantial improvements. The committee recommended working to improve the road with grading and placement of additional gravel. Public Works Department update. Pete informed the committee that cleanup day took place on Friday, May 3rd and Saturday, May 4th. West Central Sanitation removed 7 20-foot trailers, 3 30-foot trailers, and 1 50-foot trailer. And the recycling company removed 1 24-foot trailer and 1 20-foot box van, just containing appliances. And the last thing we discussed was outdoor wood burning boilers. City Administrator Clerk Jordan McQuillan informed the committee of an inquiry from a resident in regard to placing an outdoor wood burning boiler at his residence. Jordan provided the committee with basic information about outdoor wood burning boilers, in addition from the Minnesota Pollution Agency. And the committee recommended discussing the topic at the next city council meeting. And I see that is listed under discussion items, so I guess do it then, or?
Move to accept the Public Works Committee report.
Second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Public Works report. Any discussion?
Did we get a cost yet on the cleanup for the, from West Central?
The invoices came in, but
Something was on the
I don't think this was all of it.
It wouldn't be yet.
I think the invoices came in late last week.
I thought there was something in one of the bills that said, maybe that was
It probably didn't make that, 'cause I think there was still one out there on
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday, or Friday, I think, or Saturday was on.
We would have that by the next meeting,
Yeah,
though.
it'll be at the next meeting. I did see it, but it's not on here yet, so.
Okay, probably was within our,
We budgeted the,
okay.
that amount, so.
Pete did say it wasn't the biggest cleanup day, because the first one that we did
Mhm.
with the no cost was the biggest one, but it was definitely
This
successful.
one had a lot of stuff too.
This probably was second biggest.
Second biggest, okay. Okay, so,
I have a question, are you gonna need action on that, Sixth Street?
I don't,
We did actually, Pete put some more gravel there this week and.
So it's already been taken care of?
Yeah.
then
We're-
we don't
we're
have to
working.
have- that's- I just wondered
It's
if
one
we
of
need
those things
council
that's
action.
gonna be a continual upgrade, I'm sure, as
I'm
it,
sure it will.
as the
Yep.
Kinda
gravel
like that
crushes
one
down, they'll
that
just
ran
keep
in
it.
front of Garrett Links over there.
Yep, same thing.
Finally, we finally paved that one, but I'm
But-
sure that had a lot more traffic than this street does.
Exactly.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. Next up would be Jordan's report.
Okay, the first thing I'll share is that I've got 3 forms that I'm looking to implement to make my job easier and to be able to share more info with you guys so we can get your approval before we do things. The first of them is a form called a street closure request. It will be filled out by an organization or group that wishes to close a street. They'll provide basic information such as when the event will take place, the time, and arrangements for cleanup after the event. This will allow Ben to, anticipate events before the Friday of an event, so it'll come to you guys first. I'll talk it over with Ben, and we'll get a recommendation to you guys based on, what works for them and what works for us, and then you guys will either approve or deny a request. The next form that I have is a request for variance to exceed permissible sound levels. And it's a lot of words, but our ordinance defines excessive noise as a nuisance. And when there's something like a concert in a park late at night, it's for a public benefit, but there are those people who might not enjoy the music as much as the people who are enjoying it. So if they get a variance from the city council, Ben or whatever agency receives a complaint will be able to say, the council did approve this request, that this is why it's taking place, and it is authorized from this hour to this hour. If they're operating without one, they could potentially be shut down. So it's really there to benefit you guys and to make everybody happy. The third form that I have in front of you is an application for utility service. And basically what that is, it's gonna allow us to collect some, useful information for those people who are establishing utility service. We might know everybody in town that, you know, comes in and out of City Hall, but, I don't know everybody as well, so it helps me get their info. I get the same info from everybody, and it allows us to get some better contact information if we need to get a hold of them. The second item in my report would be the monthly financial report. Looks like we're still on track, things are going well. And the last item that I'd bring up in my report,
Oh, I just have one question.
sure,
The water income is $27,404. Right now, that's equal to the expenditures. But this year, the water expenditures are at the same, for the end of $57,000. That means we're behind $30,000 on income. I mean, on the water.
what's the page number, I'm sorry.
It's near the back.
Okay.
Let's see, 19 and 20.
Okay,
Incomes for the year is 27,000 for water. Expense for the year is 57,000. In the past, it seems like the income has been more than the expense. But man, we're not even close to breaking even on this.
I will have to look into that more.
We have to move on, isn't it?
Water sales. Are you talking about the water sales?
That was the water one, I don't know what the sewer is. The sewer's a little off, 73,014 and 74,834, so that was not so alarming, that's only,
Okay.
you know, 1,500, whatever, but this is 30,000.
I'll have to look at last year's data to get a full, description of what's going on.
Are we maybe
It could,
not to the point where,
summer, more
I
usage.
think maybe it's that we haven't collected for the month yet.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
would,
I watch this every single month, and I have for a couple of years, I've never seen a discrepancy like this,
Okay.
ever.
I'll have to look into it more and I'll present back to you guys at the next meeting. Are there any other questions about the report?
Here's the-
Do have one, Jordan.
Yep.
It's not too major or anything, but just on the sheets,
Yep,
there was always a percentage
Mhm.
that was listed.
okay,
On the bottom, that kinda gave an overview of the department.
okay.
I don't see that on here anymore.
Okay, we've recently had an issue with our software where some of the forms that we have been using have had issues, kinda like we experienced where the percentages weren't right last fall.
Okay, yep.
So if you look at the top, this is expenditure guidelines 2B.
Yep.
They used to be guideline 1 and then it was guideline 2. This is a different form, so it's probably that the information just isn't tabulated in the same way, and I can work to make sure that the columns are the same at the next
Okay.
time.
I always looked at those
Yeah, I
averages,
like
just
that.
kind
I
of
do
a
too.
percentage of
I
this.
miss-
Sure.
miss not having-
Quarter of the year, whatever.
Yep. I will,
Haven't they given a column average before? I was missing this.
yep,
Mhm.
probably, and
I kept
it's just
looking,
a,
and then I thought, well, maybe it's my imagination, but I thought, sure, we got a total, for the year.
Yep,
Yep.
full
Year
year.
to date. Mhm.
okay. We'll get that back on there for the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. And the last thing I was gonna present was that for the sale of the 2 lots that we put up for bid, one of them was 430 North Main Street, and that's the property right beside the church and the doctor's office. And the other one, kitty corner of our parking lot here. We didn't receive any bids on those. So.
On either one?
Yeah, on either one, so that, I would say if we get any offers on them, I'll present them back to you guys and you can either approve or deny at that time, so.
Is that it?
That's all.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion to approve Jordan's report.
I move to approve. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve Jordan's report. Any other questions or concerns? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, let's move on to 7B. And this,
Should I read it?
sure,
Okay.
go ahead.
For some time now, the Renville Police Department has been dealing with ongoing public nuisances issues with a home at 321 Northeast Second Street. And we've worked very hard with the occupants and owner to get the property clean up, but we've had issues and it's an ongoing process. In February, the last tenant moved out. Ben has had difficulties contacting the owner. We've mailed certified letter and regular mail. They did receive at least the certified letter. We've tried to talk with the person who had identified herself as the property manager. She, doesn't really have any contact information on the owner. When Ben inspected the property, he found that it's a big mess. There's several holes in the house, broken windows. Upon entering the house, he took some pictures and I'll share those with you guys right now. There's mold, there's garbage, there's a garage that's unsecured. The basement has water in it. We've since turned the water off, both at the curb and inside the house. And the owner hasn't been very cooperative at all. There's been several reports of people, including children, going into the house without permission. It's sitting unsecured on a route that many kids take to school. We would find that the residence is in violation of City Ordinance 8.1.1, A through K, identifying it as a public safety nuisance. It's in Ben's opinion that abatement of the nuisance is necessary in order to keep the public safe. Ben recommends, and I also recommend that we take action under Ordinance 8.1.3B, emergency abatement procedures, and order some reinforcement. What that would mean is that we're gonna secure the building so people don't enter it, so that rodents or other vermin don't enter it, and just to keep it safe until the owner decides to get involved and take measures.
You can see securing the building, but also it's a health hazard with that garage right now.
Certainly.
And the environment's coming from every place.
Yep.
And stacks of garbage in there. It's awful. And now Beat Day is coming up.
The parade
I see
goes
they're
right
gonna
by there.
Close that street to
Yep.
line people up there. My God, it's just absolutely an eyesore. Besides, they're behind 5 years on their utility payments, I think, or maybe longer.
So any use of English is referred.
Okay. And what was the name again?
Randy,
Say something,
Yep.
please? I talked to the county,
could you please identify yourself?
Randy Edberg, I live next door to that property, to the south. And we called and talked to the Renville County Treasurer today, and forfeiture papers have been issued for that property, so it is just a matter of time before either the state or the city takes over that property, you know, unless money is paid the whole thing off, you know, it'll be up to grabs for anybody who wants to buy it. But, we're interested in the property, you know, I like the garage, but it all needs a lot of work. It's just been sat there and people lived in it without keeping it up for a long time, and it's really pathetic.
At this time, what we need to do is take the action to abate the nuisance before we can worry about transferring ownership.
Sure.
I make the motion, we take that action.
Could you identify the action?
Okay. The action is in violation of ordinance 8.01.01. And, it's to declare the violation.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion to implement emergency nuisance abatement on 321 Second Street Northeast because it's in violation of City Ordinance 8.01.01. And that would secure the property to prevent any additional danger to the public. Would,
I'll second.
okay, all right, we have a second for this motion for the abatement. Any other discussion on this or concerns that we haven't talked about so far?
Well, I just wanna mention the same thing would've happened over in my area too. Some of these people that if they're gonna go back to Texas or wherever they're going and come back in the spring, or if you're going to Florida, you don't just shut the water off at the valve in the house. It has to be shut off outside the house, or that line freezes and breaks, and it just floods the whole house. Yeah, it would've happened too, but somebody called the owner and they came over and shut the water off over in my area. Otherwise, it would've happened there too.
They had a water leak there too?
It would've been,
Oh, okay.
because all they did is shut the water off inside the house, and that doesn't solve anything.
I think one of the problems here is that this has been rental property for so many years, and I can't tell you the number of different renters that have been in
Mhm.
that property
Correct.
over the years.
All right, any other discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. Do you have any other concerns or comments that you'd like to make?
I'm not sure if the water is totally shut off, because I'm getting a lot of moisture coming in my basement yet from that property, so
Yeah, we had our staff in there today and they ensured that it is off, so
there is no water coming in there now?
not anymore. Well, it was shut off at the curb and now it should be completely shut down. But we'll double check that before we do secure it fully.
Well, if the basement was full, it could be draining out.
Yep.
There probably is no floor drain in there, that's.
No, there's no floor drain, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and it.
It's just seeping.
It's just
They
seeping
may have,
out.
they may have to go in and actually pump it out,
Could be.
because that could sit there for
Whether that's
6
part of
months yet.
this
No,
action, I would doubt.
by taking this method that we just did, Ben did have the last possible solution, moving everything from the garage inside the house, and then
I think it'd be in our best interest to secure just both units as they are.
I don't know how you're gonna secure the garage.
We're looking into putting the doors back on the frames, and then just
And then locking that then.
getting it secured that way.
Because besides being a health hazard, it's a terrible eyesore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's awful.
That's right down here by the school, right?
Yeah, right in the corner, kitty corner from the co-op station.
Right on the corner.
Is there any legal concern about touching any of the things that are in there?
We've been in contact with the attorney and,
Got it.
we're not going to remove anything.
Okay.
Until, we're directed to do so.
Yeah, that would probably
I
make
got
sense.
another comment. Last summer, they had at least 6 cars in the yard. So they had probably at least 2 or 3 families living in that property. The garage was full to the opening of stuff. You know, so that's where a lot of that extra stuff came from that's in there right now, from extra people that they allowed in there.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, well, thank you. Let's move on to item C, the street closure request for the mini rods.
This event will take place on DuPont Avenue, just north of the tennis courts, between the tennis courts and the school. They're looking to close DuPont from about 6:30 until 8:30 or 9 on that Friday night. Actually from 5th to Main Street, I'm sorry. The actual race area will be around the tennis courts. And they have a buffer zone on either end. What we're looking for tonight is, approval of this request to authorize the closure. Yeah, we'll do each event separately.
I'll make the approval request.
Yeah, June 7th is Friday evening. You made the motion to approve it?
I'll
Okay,
second.
all right. We have a motion and a second to approve the a request for a street closing on June 7th for DuPont from 5th to Main, from 5 to 9. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. Street closure for the Water Tower Park.
This is for the events that would take place at the park. I'm told that's the headquarters of the event. They're looking also to close a portion of Second Street southwest, or northwest, from Park Avenue to Bryant. They typically go from Colfax to DuPont, just in front of K&M. But what they're looking for is the shade that the south area would provide. So it's a change from what they've had in the past.
What is this?
This is the park area closure.
Oh,
You'll
it
see
is
on the
different?
map. Yep, what they usually do is go north instead of the south loop of that. That's the parade route we're looking
Oh, guess I better have the right one here. Okay. Oh, I see.
Move to approve.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the street closing request for Saturday, June 8th, from 9 AM to 5 PM on, what did I say, street?
It would be Second Street Southwest from
Sec-
Colfax to Park.
Second Street Southwest from Colfax to Park Avenue.
Yep. Third Street Northwest from Colfax to Bryant. Bryant from Second Southwest to Third Southwest. And Colfax from Second
Oh,
Southwest.
you're going through the whole route?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That, I was just telling them the streets that are closed. So it's detailed on the map.
Okay, let's just go with that, because we've got that written down.
Yep.
Okay, and who made the motion?
I did.
Okay, and Randy, you seconded again?
No.
Or Shane did, okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the street closing for the Sugar Beet Days events at the Water Tower Park on Saturday, June 8th, from 9 to 5, with the designated streets on the map that you've been supplied. Any other questions or concerns? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, let's move on to the one for the parade.
This route is the same as they've always done in the past, so I'm told. It starts out east of Renville Estates on 240th Street, goes down DuPont all the way to Second Street, heads south to the south end of town, and it'll take Elm Avenue, or past the nursing home, and then back north on Third Street, ending near the school. Once we approve this, we actually send a street closure notification to MnDOT, who authorizes the street, 212, closure and, maintenance. So this will contain the info that, shows that we approve it, and that it goes on that application, so.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the closing of the streets for the parade on Saturday, June 8th, from 3 to approximately 4 o'clock for the parade. Any questions or concerns there? All right, all those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. Motion carried. The next one would be the street dance.
The dance would be on Main Street between DuPont and Colfax Avenue.
Okay, and that is on your application there as well. Do I have a motion for that one?
So, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the street closing for the Sugar Beet Days Street Dance from approximately 9 PM to 1 AM from Colfax to DuPont. Any other questions or concerns on that one? All right, all those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. Motion carried there. Thank you. All right, we're almost done on that. Now, this one is the request for a variance to exceed the permissible sound levels for the noise ordinance. And this would be for the street dance. And you've already been given the direction, or the location of that. So I'll take a motion to approve that.
I move to approve.
In a second? All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the request for variance to exceed the permissible sound levels for the city noise ordinance for the street dance on June 8th. Any other questions or concerns there? All right, all those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, we need to reschedule the HR committee meeting that was set for May 27th.
We moved the council meeting to May 28th, which is the Tuesday. I'd recommend going on that time if it works
Yeah,
for you guys.
that's good.
1:30 on the 28th.
I have a request, if we do that, could we have a little bit later in the afternoon, would that bother
No
anybody?
problem.
Wouldn't bother me.
We go like 3 o'clock or 3:30?
Yeah, that's fine.
Should we go 3?
As late as possible.
Okay, then.
3:30.
3:30, is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to look the other way. It's getting you right in the eyes.
Don't matter to me.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't care.
I come back from the lake at night.
Yeah,
Do you want to put that in a motion?
Yes, I would move that we change the HR meeting from May 27th to May 28th at 3:30 in the afternoon.
And a second?
second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to reschedule the May 27th HR committee meeting from, to May 28th at 3:30. Any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, did we have one more street closure? And that is this one. Okay, sorry. Okay, we have a request for a city street closure from Carol Maurice, and I would think this is for the 5K run for Sweet Beat. Yep.
On the back of the request, you'll find a flyer they intend to distribute to business owners or other people who would be affected by the route. Option 1 is their preferred route, and this is what they've done in the past.
They have an alternate route in case something comes up? Is that what-
Unless we would, or the council would have an issue with that route that they've done in the past.
So the motion we need is for option 1, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Thank you. And a second for anybody?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to request, to approve the request for the city street closing for the Sweet Beat 5K run from Southern Minnesota Sugar. Any other questions on that? All right. All those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, let's go back to our discussion on the wood burning boilers. Jordan was kind enough to give us some information on that. The folded paper is some of the ordinances that are in other towns regarding this. And the other information that he gave you was on wood boilers. And this is just an example from New York State, is that correct?
Yeah, that's a document prepared by a bunch of people who are smarter than I am about some of the dangers that a wood boiler could present. It is for the state of New York, but a lot of the information is still valid, and it's used by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency actually distributes it.
Minnesota Pollution Control Agency also has a lot of other information on the issue of wood, in particular of this type of boiler.
One of the things that we talked about was the height of the
Height of the stack is an
height of the
issue,
stack, because the lower the stack, the more,
the less dispersal.
Yeah, the smoke is at a lower level, gets into the houses and, different than a bonfire or a private outdoor fire, you could say. So that was just for your discussion. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask or different concerns that they can think?
Do we know if there are any in town at this time?
Yes, there is.
There is one?
Driggs have one. John Driggs.
John Driggs has one.
I think it's a pretty good sized one because he goes through a lot of wood over there.
Well, most of you that know me at all know that I'm pretty much the libertarian in town and a protector of property rights, but your rights end at the end of my nose. So I really think this is something we should look into and consider very strongly, because the nuisance issue, especially if it's in a compact area in town, the nuisance issue with wood smoke for a neighbor could be significant enough that I think there are measures can be taken to reduce those.
And this is specifically for this unit, not indoor fireplaces that people have?
Well, I'm not so sure that for new indoor fireplaces, we couldn't consider that, but I think it's the kind of thing.
So you're gonna say then they could have an indoor fireplace in the
No,
house?
not saying that at all.
What are you
No, I'm
thinking
just
then?
setting certain parameters for them, like specifying a stack height, the type of fuel burn, so we don't want them burning garbage, don't want them burning treated wood.
Or tires or-
There's proper curing for firewood, and that should be adhered to. And I think regardless of who's burning wood, that's, you should, if I have a wood stove in my shop, and I shouldn't burn garbage in that.
No.
So I think it's something we should look at for all wood-burning devices. And the standards for chimney heights, basically for indoor or built-in fireplaces, are established by fire codes. For this, one of the reasons for these external boilers is you don't have to comply with the fire codes because they're outside. So the stack heights typically are only about like 10 foot. So,
You get a couple of them in a neighborhood and you could
and
have a
you-
problem.
yeah. Whereas for a chimney on a fireplace, it has, fire codes, I think, require it be 4 foot above the
Top of your house, I think.
peak of the roof.
So now you got low or high pressure, that would hold that down. wouldn't it?
Exactly, and that's gonna happen regardless. There's gonna be times there's inversions and it is an issue, but I think there are measures we can take to reduce that.
We do have something in our ordinances now, it was in chapter 8 under the public nuisances, about dense smoke,
Mhm.
noxious fumes and that, already gas and soot and stuff, so.
But if we could put some standards on
Yep.
future installations to set some parameters so that it reduces the risk of people violating that ordinance,
You could
that's not all
still,
bad.
you could still regulate anything to a degree of anything that's already in place. You could still-
With the nuisance ordinance, yes, that's right. That's in place now.
Yeah.
But I would like to set up a system where we don't have a lot of nuisance complaints, if at all possible.
It'd be nice to just really find out how much wood smoke we may have around town. And at this time of the year now, you're not gonna really find that out.
It's interesting, I don't know if you've taken an opportunity to read the different ordinances around town, different cities. There are some cities that limit the months of use. I don't really have a lot of interest in doing that, because that precludes using it for residential water heating. And,
You know, some of those, burners or boilers will burn used oil. I don't know, I don't think there's any in town, and some people have it like in a garage out at a fireplace or something. I don't know what kind of smoke comes off of those, but it's probably
If they're burning
definitely
right, it's
not
not
good.
bad.
Is it possible that the seasonal ban on the use could be intended to prevent these from being utilized as your primary boiler system, so that you have to have something else?
Oh, it could be,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
So,
I would not want to hazard a guess on why they implemented that, but
right.
to me, it would prevent me from having it as a water heater.
Dennis, do you wanna bring that up again at a public works meeting sometime?
Actually, I'm wondering if maybe, I'd like to be involved in writing this one. And I've started doing some research, I read through all the EPA stuff
Okay.
and MPCA, it's kind of what I used to do for a living, so
You go for it,
maybe, I'll get with Jordan and
Yeah.
we'll bring it back to
yeah,
the Public Works Committee next month, and
okay, sounds good.
some recommendations.
Okay, let's move on to the, general fund bills. I have two in here, but
Oh, you got mine.
that's fine.
I had to bring this back.
That was a pretty good one.
I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the general fund bills. Any discussion?
We talked earlier about the cleanup days. I did see the one on there from Southwest Distributing. It's on page 2, third of the way down. It looked like it was 1,266 for the recycling.
I knew I had seen it, but then I couldn't find out what I was looking for.
That would be for the appliances then, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of.
And the, probably the other trailer of recyclables.
Mhm. They've got class 5 gravel on here too. I suppose that went on that street.
Yep, we've had a lot of alleys that we've repaired too.
I was looking for it, but I know I read it.
What's it for?
Okay.
Any questions?
That must only be a part of it though.
Yes.
Yep, yep, that's the
But I imagine
recycling.
that's the expensive part, isn't it?
We did have a lot of trailers, but,
Yeah, we did.
it might be about the same, so,
A lot of weight on that one.
correct.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, if you look under the mayor's notes, we have a yellow ribbon proclamation and recognition. And I'd like to hold this up and show it to you. It says that whereas the Yellow Ribbon Recognition Program pays tribute to those communities with an exceptional record of caring, commitment, and compassion for their military members and families through the various programs and public works. It is with this commitment to caring that the community of Renville will serve with honor and distinction as a Yellow Ribbon City. Pass that around so you can see that. And the other thing I'd like to mention that Ray and I attended the town hall meeting that they had next door for the Rapid group, the TADA, Teens Against Drug and Alcohol. And one of the things that they would like to really make people aware of is that they have medication disposal now for not used prescription drugs, but leftover drugs, so that they get disposed of properly, so they don't get in the hands of the kids. And this is really a big problem that's popping up now, that in our day and age, it was not even thought of that anybody would get a hold of your drugs.
Growing problem.
It's a growing problem,
Saving
yeah.
more than
Just
now.
clean out your medicine cabinet. I know I'm guilty of that too. You know, you save them, you might need it again sometime,
And
but
and where is this?
there's a collection box behind City Hall.
It was just at this event.
Oh, for that,
Yeah,
okay. I thought he was gonna put one there permanently.
We're looking to put one in this lobby.
Oh,
here.
okay.
The county had it permanently installed in Olivia one.
Yeah, we're looking to get our
That
own.
1 year.
I
Okay.
just wanted it over that.
Oh, I see, okay. But anyway, that was a good presentation that they did, so.
Another reason to do that is because dumping your pills down the drain can have very
That's right.
damaging effects on our waste treatment system. So
Someplace
Yeah,
in the news
that-
today.
And it ends up in the rivers and streams, correct? Yes.
Makes three-legged frogs and all kinds of weird things.
Oh, they finally figured out where they're coming from, huh? Okay.
That's one of the theories.
You all heard how much, or how many loads of garbage and everything that was taken out for cleanup days. And I just want to thank everybody for what they did to help someone else out that needed help, getting things to the brush site, and just thanking everybody for their efforts to clean up and get it taken care of. We got a long ways to go to get every corner cleaned out, and the garbages that are in the corners and in the garages, there's still a lot there, but we made a dent, so that's important, so.
Even with the delays that we had to have.
Oh my
because
gosh, that,
of ice cream.
yeah. I was driving down the street the other day and I thought, you know, it's May, what's missing? And then all of a sudden I noticed that the trees are starting to bud now, we're finally gonna get leaves. I think that's the final thing that makes it summer, is to get leaves on your trees, otherwise it feels like fall yet, I don't care. So, with that, that's all I have, so,
I have a motion to adjourn.
thank you.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. Motion carried.